How many times have you heard about the magical 70-20-10 rule for budgeting? Spend 70% on needs, save 20%, and have 10% for fun, right? Sounds simple, but what if your life isn't so simple? What if you're drowning in credit card debt or saving a down payment for your dream home, or maybe you really love trying new restaurants? Forget the rigid templates. In this video, we're going to explode that one-size-fits-all myth and dive deep into how to create a personalized money management system that actually works for you. Because it's important to build a financial fortress tailored to your unique income, expenses, and those awesome, ambitious goals that you've got. So buckle up and let's get into it. Hi, my name is Jay, and I'm a professor at the Financial Freedom Academy. My mission is to help you achieve your financial goals and become financially free by teaching you strategies that actually work for building wealth. Now, before we get all revolutionary, let's quickly touch on the classic 70-20-10 rule. It's a great starting point, a simple framework to think about how your money flows. But let's be honest, our life situations and circumstances are constantly changing, and we need to adapt. That's why we need to go beyond. Think of it like this. Would you wear a generic off-the-rack suit to your best friend's wedding? Probably not. You'd want something more tailored, something that fits perfectly and makes you feel amazing. Your money deserves the same level of attention. So how do we ditch the template and build our financial masterpiece? Well, it all starts with understanding your unique financial landscape. Let me tell you about my friend Amy and her extraordinary situation. Just a few years ago, Amy was feeling totally overwhelmed by her finances. She was working hard, earning a decent salary as a hairdresser, but somehow the end of the month always seemed to arrive with an empty bank account and a mountain of vague anxiety. She tried the 70-20-10 rule, but it just didn't click. 70% for needs felt too restrictive, especially living in an expensive city, and 20% for savings felt impossible some months. She was frustrated and honestly a little defeated. One evening, while venting over a coffee, I suggested that she try a different approach. Instead of blindly following a generic rule, we decided to dissect her spending habits. We actually spent a week meticulously tracking every single dollar that she spent, from her morning latte to that impulse to buy a new art supply. It felt tedious at first, but what we uncovered was eye-opening. We realized that a significant chunk of her needs category was actually going towards things that she thought she needed but weren't truly essential. Subscription services that she barely used, eating out for lunch almost every day, and those tempting treat yourself moments that added up quickly. This wasn't about deprivation, it was about awareness. Amy's story is the perfect example of why a personalized approach is crucial. Her initial attempt with the 70-20-10 rule failed, not because the concept of this savings is bad, but because the percentages didn't reflect her actual spending habits and financial priorities. So what did Amy do differently? Well, she embraced the core principles of personalized money management. And you can do this too. The first step, as Amy discovered, is tracking your expenses effectively. Gone are the days of stuffing crumpled receipts into a shoebox. We have amazing tools at our fingertips. You can use budgeting apps, spreadsheets, or even just the Notes app on your phone. The key is to be consistent and categorize your spending. Think beyond needs and wants. Break it down into more specific categories: groceries, transportation, rent and mortgage, entertainment, debt repayment, and don't forget savings and investments, and even personal care. Once you have a clear picture of where your money is going, the next step is setting realistic budget categories. This is where the 70-20-10 rule starts to bend. Perhaps you're aggressively paying down debt. Your savings debt repayment category might need to be significantly higher than 20%. Maybe you adopt a 60-30-10 rule. The key is to align your categories with your actual expenses and, more importantly, your financial goals. Which brings us to a crucial element: defining your financial goals. What are you saving for? A down payment on a house, a new car, traveling the world, retirement, paying off a student loan. Your goals will heavily influence how you allocate your money. Someone saving for a short-term goal like a vacation might have a different allocation than someone prioritizing long-term retirement savings. Be specific and write them down. Finally, remember that life is dynamic and your money management system should be too. This means adjusting percentages as life circumstances change. Got a promotion, your income increased, maybe you can allocate more to your savings or investments. If you have extra medical bills, maybe you'll need to reevaluate and potentially cut back on non-essential spending. Starting a family, your expenses will likely shift dramatically. Don't be afraid to revisit your budget regularly, at least monthly, and make adjustments as needed. So, how do we actually adapt the 70-20-10 rule or create our own personalized system? Well, here are a few starting points. Consider the 60-30-10 rule that I just mentioned, where 60% goes to needs, 30% to savings and debt repayment, and then 10% to wants. Or perhaps the 50-30-20 rule. This may be more suitable for you. And this is a popular alternative where 50% goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. This might be a better fit for those with higher discretionary spending or aggressive saving goals. Also consider using the zero-based budget. This method assigns every single dollar of your income to a specific category. So your income minus your expenses equals zero. This offers a very detailed level of control. There's also the envelope system, a more traditional method where you allocate cash into different envelopes for various spending categories. This can be particularly effective for controlling variable expenses like groceries and entertainment. There are also online apps for this. Ultimately, the best rule and system is the one that works for you. Don't be afraid to experiment. Start with one of these frameworks and then tweak the percentages based on your tracked expenses and financial goals. Maybe you'll find that a 60-25-15 split works better. Or perhaps you create a completely different categories altogether, like essential bills, debt annihilation, future travel fund, and the happy spending fund. The power is in your hands. Remember, you want to be disciplined, but also enjoy life. Now, let's quickly talk about how these principles can be applied to different life stages. As a young professional, you might be dealing with student loan debt and just starting to build your career. Your priority might be aggressively paying down debt while still allowing for some fun and building an emergency fund. Your debt repayment and savings percentages might be higher than the standard 20%. For someone with a family and kids, your expenses will likely be higher and more varied. Budget categories like childcare, education, and family activities will become significant. You might need to prioritize saving for your children's future while also managing current household expenses. Flexibility and open communication about finances are key. How about the pre-retirees? As you approach retirement, your focus might shift towards maximizing retirement savings, paying off any remaining debt, and planning for your post-work life. Your savings and investments percentage might be at its highest, while you might be consciously reducing certain expenses. Remember, these are just general guidelines. Even within these life stages, individual circumstances will vary greatly. The key is to continuously assess your situation and adjust your system accordingly. Okay, so are you ready to take control? If so, do the following short exercise by analyzing your budget. Yes, write it down and then using that to create your strategy, whether it's the 70-20-10 or the 50-30-20 or whatever it is for you. Remember, there will be times when you overspend or deviate from your budget. Don't beat yourself up. Learn from it and get back on track. Consistency is more important than perfection. But don't forget to set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your saving accounts and investment accounts. This pays your future self first. So, what are your biggest money management challenges? Let me know in the comments below. To your health, wealth, and success.